All right. Now let's go here. And hi, good afternoon. I apologize for my late start. I fell down a fun little rabbit hole over my lunch break, digging into using color theory and the concept of design tokens, which is really cool, but it's more than I want to do right now. Um, I do want to keep playing with the colors and so on in this application though. But before I do that, I think I want to take on typography first rather than digging deeper into the color theory rabbit hole, because I discovered some things and that's going to require a lot of tweaking and some FAFO and some experimentation in science and so on. So let's do this. I'm going to flip over to my main screen. And here we go. We see our background color. We're kind of using a little bit of a foreground color there. It's not super visible because the contrast ain't great. And I haven't done anything with the background of that thing, the sidebar element yet. I do want to try something though, just purely for laughs before I dig in too far. And let's try var. And what have we got here? Let's go with color primary darkest to, or sorry, color darkest primary to color lightest tertiary. Or sorry, color lightest primary. So color lightest primary over to and I might have to flip this, var color darkest primary. Now these variables should import all the way out to here, because in the app.razor file, if we open that guy up, we're actually loading several style sheets and we're pulling in something, font awesome, and then we're bringing in bootstrap min CSS, styles CSS, which is ours, and then finally I figured out that this is sort of compiled at build time in from all of the injected or not the injected, but the scoped or the internalized CSS for our components. And we can see that we've actually got that sort of going here. And yeah, it's an ugly baby poop brown, but it ain't terrible. I really don't dislike it at all for this purpose. Color lightest primary. Oh, I mistyped that. But if I save, hey, look at that. That ain't bad. That ain't bad at all. But I do want to go dark to... Do I? What if I go color tertiary? Just to see what it does. It might be ugly. Ugly as sin. Oh yeah, that's kind of hideous. But yeah, I can live with it. I'm going to go back to lightest. Actually, color base primary. Save. Yeah, that ain't bad. I do want to flip those around though. And instead of doing it at 180, let's do this at 270. Save and change the angle on that. And that makes it run right to left. Now, what if I subtract 45 from that? 70 minus 45 would be 225. Not 2,020, not 2,225, but 225. That ain't hideous. I don't hate it. I don't hate that a bit. Yeah. How's that look when we go like this? Oh, yeah. I quite like that. Now, if I want to flip that, I want to rotate it another 90 degrees. So that would become 135. And let's go to 45. And if we pull it, so 360 minus 45 is 315. I like that. I quite like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Cool. Let's get into typography. Now, I've done quite a lot in layout box, I believe, around typography. Header, feature host main, feature host footer, task host. Oh, I'm playing around with gradients and color schemes and so on and so forth. Task host padding is a quarter of my base font size versus and a half of the base font size. Task host header. I should have headings to find somewhere. The functionality is mostly done. It's done enough, but 9 of 12 is in the chat asking if the functionality is all done. It's functionally wise, it's good enough to start thinking about getting ready to host, but I don't want to take on hosting on a Friday. I want to start that process on Monday because I've got a lot more research and planning and design of the cloud environment to do. And I want to try to call in some contacts or find some people in my network that have a lot more experience deploying to a brand new Azure setup than I do, so that I can get a sanity check on my designs, both in terms of application security, security for my end users' information, and security for our wallet. Because I want to make sure I'm not about to do something that's going to just suddenly overnight, holy crap, we owe Microsoft $90,000. That would be an absolute nightmare scenario for me, and I want to avoid it. It's okay. I can put a cap on the amount of Azure charge that we get, so that if the Azure charges go above, say, $10, it just shuts the site down until next month. So, yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm doing things with typography here and there, and I am afraid that I've done it in places that's going to make it really, really hard to change throughout the application. So I guess the first thing I got to do is start going through my Razor pages. And we better pin this. So let's take a look at mainlayout.razor first. And I don't see any sizing or anything like that here, so good. And what about in here? Relative flex, that's all good. I don't think I'm even using a page class anymore. Flex 1, background linear gradient, height 3.5 rem. Okay, so that's good. Margin left is 3.5 rem or 1.5 rem, and all of that stuff. Good, 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 good. All right, so that's fine. I don't have to change anything there. Nav menu, I'm going to come back to that. Let's start with home. And I've got H1. I want to change this to heading. There we go. Save it. Now, because this is a page, it's going to live inside a feature host. So let's come out to typography. And for the feature host class, inside the header, let's say font size. No. We're not going to style anything on the header. We're going to style the heading. And we're going to say font size. We'll go to 2 rem. Font weight. Bold. That might be overkill. Save and refresh everything. And I want to make sure out here on home.razor, I've got header, heading, it's coming back up. All right, and we see that we're much bolder now. And on the footer, I think for the homepage footer, I want to, we'll come over to typography. Dot feature host footer. I think I'm going to go font size 0.9 rem. Because we can go a little smaller down there. It's kind of fine print. Save. And there we go. We're a little bit smaller. And then if we ever have text in the main feature area, main, let's say font size, let's go 1.1 relative. No, let's go 1.25. 25 relative. And there we go. We're a little bit bigger. I dig it. Now, I thought I saw somewhere how to can I create an embossed text effect with only CSS? Text shadow property can be used to achieve so many cool text effects, including an embossed effect. Let's play with this. All right. Text shadow property of -1. Blur at its default of 0. Horizontal and vertical shadows of 1 are layered on top of the negative values. I feel silly. I feel really, really silly here. I'm going to grab this. C, copy that. Paste. Okay, we're going to have to do some stuff with color tokens over here. But if I save it, that should do something. Only be a few shades of difference between the background color and the text color to achieve a true embossed look. Okay. So our color is 333 in this example. So that's very dark. And I wish I could zoom in here to see what it's doing. But -1, -1. All right. I need to look at what these parameters mean. CSS text shadow. And I might need to make this a lot bigger just for sake of making it easier to see. Save all, reload everything. Okay, so there's a little bit of a shadow there. Excuse me. So let's bring up W3 Schools. Here's their text shadow property thing here. It's got 2px, 2px, ff0000. Okay. So if we go -1, -1, there's that. And is there a so I've got this, and then 1px, 1px, 0 blur. So if I do a cascade text shadow, CSS root, cascading style sheets, here we go. If I do an HWB, HWB from var, and what's my, oh, well, that would be color stuff. Nah, that's something to goof around with later. I do have my variables imported, right? I do. What am I using for feature host header? I don't have anything specified yet. Let's go color dark as primary. Is that what I want to use? Yeah. From var, color darkest primary. H calc W plus 30 B. And that will make it lighter. So I'm going to grab this formula, copy, and HWB stands for hue, whiteness, blackness. And then I'm going to come over here, paste that here, but instead of using a lighter tone, I'm just going to use W, and I'm going to say calc B times 30. I believe that's how I did it. No, it's plus 30. So let's save it and see if that does anything for us. Let's reload. And it's recompiling. And that ain't bad. It's barely noticeable. Like I'd have to like really lean in and look to see what it's doing there. In fact, I don't think it's even doing anything. So what if I just go to from black? Instead of trying to bring in that variable. And do this. We'll also go from black, although you can't get darker than black. But let's see. Save it. Nah. That's something that I can fall down the rabbit hole on my own time. I'm going to take this back to 3 rem for the feature host header, or feature host footer. Okay, good. And is that still gigantic? Save. That's a little bigger than I want it to be. I think I'm going to go with 2. Save. That's a little bit more reasonable. Sorry, kid had a question. All right, so feature host header, we're going to go with 2 rem, which is going to have our font size in pixels equal to about 32. So let's define our task host header heading font size. Let's go 1.5 rem. And font weight, let's go bold. And task host footer, I think I'm just going to go with the standard typography for that. Body, you know what? I want to define the body footer here while I'm at it. Body, footer, font size, 0.9 rem. Yeah, that'll work. And for the feature host footer, I'm going to go 1.1. Save. That's better. That's more like it. And of course, in the expanded view, I didn't want to do that to Visual Studio. I want to do that to Edge. We see that we're all good here. And I've got some work to do on the box model for our sidebar. NPC list footer. Now, because we haven't overridden anything yet, we are still at similar sizing. But as we get into the NPC list and other places, we're going to see that we've got some of the same sizing, and it's not really being overridden well or anything like that. So let's go back to the list. I'm going to pull this guy over here and shrink up our menu again. Task host header heading. Okay. Dot task host footer, font size. Let's go with 1 rem. Save it. There we go. And task host main. Main. We'll go font size 1 rem. Okay. Now, because we've got styling on this particular component, I do want to look at what's going on here. And then we got to come in through our various pages and components to see what's going on. So let's do that. And I'm going to pin this guy. And let's go into Create NPC. And I don't believe I have any raw text. Oh, I do here. And Manage NPCs. You, I believe, are at the feature host level. Let's take a look just to be for sure. Heading, feature host. Yep, so we've got 2 rem here. Bold. we've got our button, and I've got some work to do here, because that I don't care for. But that's in the actual partial page. I don't care about the weather component. We're going to be deleting that soon anyway. So let's start looking at our partials. We'll go back to the list and we'll start with the NPC list. And to get in there, we just pop this guy open. And NPC list, padding top, border top, bottom, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we don't have any stuff there. We scroll down. We don't really need all that space at the bottom of the list. And I can close out of that. Pull you back over here. So the margin bottom is no longer needed down here. I'm going to move that to 0.25. Padding top, padding bottom. Padding top is fine. We don't need margin top. Excuse me. Background color. We're going to need to define a highlight color. And we're going to need to define another highlight color. Or tokens, rather. But I'm looking primarily for font sizing at this point. There's gap, button. Here we go. Font size is 0.2 rem. Font size is 0.2 rem. I think that's plenty. It's nice and visible. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to save, and I do want to come out to the NPC list itself and make sure I don't need this the C#. I need the razor, and make sure I'm not doing anything weird. So here's my heading, good, and then the footer, NPC list footer will go here. Let's just erase this for now. Save it, and I do need to restart after that. Debug, restart. Come into the NPCs. Here's our list. This is looking pretty good. However, we did identify a need for this and a need for that. And I want to create semantic stuff for that. Because I don't want to override those in here. So if we come out to, where's palettes? Dang blast it. Rob, you goose. One of these days I'll figure out, or I'll have it in my muscle memory that I have to use the function key on my Mac keyboard to go to the front or the end of the line. So there's banner L1 accent. Let's say, oh gosh, task, accent color. Task, color, accent, task, color, item border. Yeah, because that's what we're going to use it for. And we'll use var color darkest primary. Heck with it. And task color alt item item dash border alt item background. We're going to use var color lightest. No, we're going to use color base primary. Save. Now we can take these two variables. I'm going to copy this guy. Go up to npclist.razor.css and go var paste and save. And we just lost it. I'd be shocked if these don't plumb all the way in. I bet I have to restart it. And where's my alternating item color? Come out to palettes, grab this guy, copy that. Whoops. Just that. And I go var paste and save, and it no longer recognizes that. And I should have gone with lightest. And then I bet if I rebuild so that it can compile those variable evaluations up into that CSS, it may or may not work. Hey, it worked. Look at that. I like that. That's groovy. All right, so we're good on the NPC list. And we're good on home.razor. We don't need select NPC options anymore. Let's take a look at view NPC details. And let's just make sure we're using the correct things. Excuse me. And we've got an H4 in here, which I don't want. So instead instead of having a separate H4 item for that, I could go heading, save, and that probably incurs a restart because I did alter how that'll render. Go here. We'll load up Grog Half-Orc. All right. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the way this works a little bit. So that at profession. And then, instead of just going ahead and doing what I'm doing there all the time, grab this, paste it in here, get rid of species, at profession, rerun, and I bet that'll be a little bit tidier. Let's pop in here, NPCs, load it up. Gaia the Gnome Woodcrafter, back to list. Half-Orc Leatherworker. And I feel like I don't have any CSS defined here. I feel like that's a little too big. And I've got all these H4s down through here. So let's look at typography. Task host header heading. I'm going to go down to 1.25 here. Save. It's a little better. It's a little better. I don't want to always drop this to the second line. That feels bad. Get rid of this name stuff. Save. And reload. And that's the last tweak I'm going to make to that layout and the text flow and stuff here because I'm getting distracted, I noticed. Excuse me. ABCs. Load it up. Yeah, that'll have to do. So we've got header, main. I feel like I need to come into layout box and on task host main, add padding of 0.5 rem. That's a little bit better. Actually, that's significantly better. Yeah, I quite like that. And I want to go task host main heading font size 1.1 rem, font weight oh gosh, bold. Save it, and I gotta come over here and change these H4s where I see them to headings. Heading. 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 And then I'm not going to do any more changes down in the footer because it's already properly formatted. Rerun. Load this. Pop into Fairy Greenheart. And did I goof up? Task host header heading. 1.25 rem, font weight bold. What's going on with that? I might have mistyped something, so let's just take a peek. Task host main. Let's close that. And instead of doing that, we'll do heading. Oh, wait. Header heading. I didn't specify. Task host main headings. Font size 1.1 rem. Font weight, let's say bold. There we go. Not bad. And I noticed that our padding vanished. Main heading, main padding is 0.5 rem. I want to go padding top 1 rem. That's a bit better spaced out. That's a little too much, I think. There we go. That'll do. And how do we look at full size? Yeah, that looks okay. I can live with that. Oh, there's something I need to drop in there. I just noticed in the personality area, profession, because it's only being populated if we have one of those. Rob, you dope. It's only being populated if the AI has created a personality description. Excuse me. And I think I want to do a little bit of styling on those HRs. And I think that's going to go in a layout box. Task host main heading. I think I only want to apply it to task host main HR width 50%. And we probably need to reload here. Yeah, now let's reload. NPCs. Load you up, Gaia. And it seems to have 86 my padding again. Weird. And why is this in the layout box? That needs to be over in typography. What did I have set here? Yeah, get lost. Oh, that HR doesn't. Yeah. HWB, triad editor. I'm going to load this up over here, and I'm going to do one of these. HR, style, HR, width 50%. Run. Okay, so that works there. I just have something goofy going on with however I'm doing it. Oh, I think I know what it is. Over in layout box, if I save, save, and reload, that should affect any horizontal rule element in the task host main. Nope, didn't do a darn thing for me. You're a dirty rat. Oh, there's another new cat? Goodness. Huh. Okay. So I've got, I think, one more thing that I need to do. I'm going to get rid of that because it's not doing anything for me. I'm going to have to look into what the heck is going on there at another time. But as far as typography land, let's take a look at these NPC attributes. And go back to the list, create. All right, so this is all going crazy town here. We've got manage NPCs here, select NPC options. This is all banana pants. And yeah, that's right. I haven't focused on much of the styling in here yet. And my scrolling ain't right. Let's tidy this up. First thing we'll do is this. Back that up by 1. Save it. And reload. Come into the list. Create. It's a little better. A little bit better. Do I have any style overrides for those control? I do. And task host header, display flex direction is column, justify content is flex start. Good. Display flex direction row, space between. Just for laughs, border 1 pixel solid red. Save. And that's itty bitty. So what I need to do is flex 1. Not quite. What happens when I show the list? Okay, that ain't bad. Flex direction column. Justify content. Flex. Start. Save. Options panel. Let's give me that border again. Save. Reload. Okay. Display flex, flex direction column, flex start. Header heading. Instead of flex 1, what happens if I say 1, 0, auto? Save. Flex 1, 0, auto. Reload. Justify content is flex start. Create. So I've got something weird going on here. So we've got task host header heading. Get rid of this column 3 nonsense. Excuse me. Reload. Pop out here, NPCs, create. It's still not quite right. And I suspect it's because I haven't done something out here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we've got this show for page state. I need to get rid of this. And make it a direct child of our feature host. So that it can be correctly part of the style cascading flow. Is my bet. And it's still a little goofy, but at least now the generate AI description is in the right place. So we fixed the scrolling there. Now what the devil is going on with my heading? My header heading. What if I just tear these styles out? because let's take a look at what's going on with task host header. 00 auto margin 0 border bottom blah 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 blah. Okay, so that's all good. And then we are extending that task host is a flex direction column. Okay, so header, main, footer. That's good. Flex is stretching. Oh. What happens if it goes 00 auto? Save? No, I probably have to bounce that. NPCs, create. Still not what we want. Width, 100% apparent. I hope that doesn't do something hideous. Oh, I just screwed everything up. There we go. Hey, that's better. Align. Items. Center. Save it. Show my panel. Let's go. Width. 100%. Save that. That's more like it. And now we can get rid of those ugly red borders that I just added for testing. Flurp. That's better. And we hide it, and we show it, and we hide it. Header heading, are those? That doesn't quite feel properly aligned here. Yeah, no, those are definitely off. I think there's something funky going on out here. What if I change this P into a span? Save that. Reload. Create. Now we're properly aligned along the baseline. Because P causes a line feed, I believe. And class equals btn primary. No, we're going to go secondary. There we go. And refresh. And eventually we're going to be able to do some more stuff with the buttons and all these input elements and everything like that. I just want to make sure that we're placed correctly and that things are looking okay. They don't have to be perfect. So I'm going to back up here. We can collapse this for now. Is reroll visible, BTN primary. Are we still within the header? We are. And I do want that to go all the way across. But I don't think that's something that I want to putz around with at this point in time. I think we're in a good enough spot with our typography, although, heading, 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 main footer, save it, and let's re-roll, or reload rather, to make sure that those come up the way we want them to. And they should be consistent with the detailed description. So here's create, and there's our headings. Good. Good, good, good. And if we go back to the list, we come over to Gaia Dusty Burl and we see them show up exactly the same way. Now, there is way too much vertical space between those attributes on view details. And how do they look over here on create? Yeah, again, way too much vertical space. So I think for task host main paragraph elements, task host main paragraph elements, I'm going to take margin top 0.25 relative M's and save it and refresh. View. I'm still in typography. Padding top 0. Border 1px solid red. Now, where's all the space coming from? Because I want to tighten that up. Generate AI description, save townsperson. Oh, for some reason, we're in a completely goofy UI state here. I think I see what's going on. Copy. View NPC attributes. Gotta add that. I gotta rerun it. I didn't bring in the visibility attribute on the generate panel, so it was always making itself visible. So like if I come in here, here's my list. I go to view, we're good. Go back to the list. Back to list, create. And we've still got an awful lot of space in between all these elements. Let's take a look at the task host main. Flex one, overflow auto, height padding, padding top, good. Task host, flex direction, column, height padding. I gotta wonder if it's extra padding and stuff like that. Star, padding 0, margin 0. Save. And there we go. We just tighten everything up real nice. Because everything was getting that padding 0.25 rem, and I just wanted it around the task host, not its children. And now I can set padding and margin as I wish on all of its children to my heart's content. That's much better. That's much, much, much better. So padding on main is 0.5 rem. Yeah, that's a whole lot better. Much cleaner. All right. Now, I said I wanted to get into some fun with colors. And I'm done messing with layout box. I'm done messing with all these specifics. We don't have to monkey around with typography anymore. Styles is just consolidating everything. And I believe I can probably pull out this root element here. Yes, I can. So I'll get to that stuff eventually. But I learned some really, really, really neat tricks. Or I read about some really neat tricks that I want to play with here. So, in our variables, we've got color-based primary, color-based secondary, all of these things, right? What if, and I can delete these now. And somebody come into the chat a few minutes ago and say CSS is only fun when it works, aka never. And you're not wrong. I'm going to go ahead and reply to this. How do I reply? Here's reply. Nope. I don't know how to computer sometimes, man. Ain't that the truth? So yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole of troubleshooting my layouts and fonts and all of that stuff today. But it's fine. I didn't have any actual production stuff to do today. Oh, crap. Before I go any further on that stuff, I do need to come up here and fix my layout box so that I don't have those. Oh, it must have been in typography. Yeah, there's my silliness. Get lost. That's better. Go away, darn thing. Margin top, padding top. I can actually get rid of that. But what if I go, no, not margin, but padding, left, 0.25 rem. Save that. Are we going to boop in slightly? I bet I have to refresh here. No. Save. I just want to push the paragraphs in a little bit. And it looks like my paragraph is slightly offset from its header. But I want to see it offset just a little more. And that's even more what I like. Yeah, that looks quite good. All right, good. Now, color fun. Come back out to variables. And somebody let a moth into the house, so it's driving me crazy. So I've got an idea I want to test. Because I'm feeling silly. And instead of having this whole sea of hard-coded values out here, I wonder if instead I could color And where's palettes? Here's palettes. I'm going to move you to a new horizontal document group. Now for the foreground color, I'm using color darkest secondary. On the background color, I'm using color base primary. And I've chosen this sort of beige as my color base. And let's actually lighten it up even more. No, wait, I had DDCC. Let's go all the way up to... No, let's stick with DDCCAA. Now, instead of that, Apple T, hex to decimal converter. So the hex number, now I want to, is DD equals 221. R 221. G is 204. B is equal to 170. Now, what if instead of using that for my base, I went with so 221 minus 204 is 17. So if I went with a G of if I brought this whole thing down closer to the median, so if 204 becomes 128, no, color primary. No, not darkest primary, just primary. Sometimes IntelliCode gets a little too eager. RGB. Now, if I go 128, 128, 128. Is that the correct sequence there? Whatever. I'll come over to palette. Where's palette? Background color. Let's just take that down to color primary. That's gray. Cool. Whoops. Color primary. Save. No, that's bright white. I need to look at how I'm doing RGB. RGB. Does it need commas? Nope. Color primary, RGB 128, 128, 128. Good. So if 204 translates to 128, then the red value is 17 higher. So 135, 145. Save. And 204 minus 170. Ugh. 204 minus 100 is 104 minus 70 is 34. 34. And save. Grab this. And paste it in here. There's no change. Save it. Refresh. I may not be doing this right. Okay, good. Now that does look kind of like baby shit. I don't love it. Don't like it at all. So let's go 221, 204, 170. Save that. Refresh. All right, that's a little better. Now, HWB. That gives me relative values. Thinking. So color primary, I want to rotate, not 180, not 90, 135 degrees to get secondary and tertiary. But I'm wondering if there's a CSS function that will allow me to rotate around. How about hue rotate? Can I do that? Matrix operation, convert the color to the HSR L model, which is a nonlinear operation. Rotates the hue of an element and its contents. Its result is a filter function. So if I use the body background and the color, rather than dicking around with all that stuff, what happens if I go app host header? No, not app host header. Let's just bring palette back up here, shall we? And let's do something really, really freaking goofy. Dot feature host. Header. Background is hue rotate 180 degrees. Let's go to the absolute opposite. This may not do anything for us. Let's refresh just to see if it does anything. No, it doesn't. Okay. Well, that's fine. I am going to probably do a little bit more play with this stuff over the weekend because I've got an idea. I've got a concept of what I want to do as far as setting up colors and a way to choose colors so that they all work together and everything like that. I've got a couple of concepts and a couple of patterns. But I feel like I'm not quite there in terms of how to implement this concept. And it's also not fully formed in my head yet. But I'll get there. I will get there. So it's Friday afternoon. Um, Time to go do other stuff, I think, for some of you. I want to keep digging on this stuff. And I've got a good bit of planning to do over the weekend, especially in regards to how am I going to host this thing? What are the steps I need to take, and so on and so forth, because I've worked with Azure deployed applications in the past, but I've also specified how applications should be deployed in the past from like an architecture standpoint, but I've never done hands-on keyboard and mouse in the portal with my own money, um, where where I've done it from nothing to something. So that's, I think, something that I want to get cracking on maybe next week. So take care of yourselves. I am that developer dad. There's link trees and like buttons and follow buttons and so on, and places you can find me all over, scattered about your Twitch UI or your YouTube UI if you're watching the stream after the fact. Have a great weekend. Try not to work too much over the weekend. Do something else. And I'll see you all next week.